getting ready to go for a run, and what do I need to think about? Well, if I'm running, I know that there can be tension that builds up at the front. There can be a bit in my back where I'm slightly leaning forwards, and I've got to think about my ankles. Okay, so an important one to do just before you start to go run, wherever that is, preferably on a soft surface. Make sure you do some little tips just to get those ankles warmed up, because remember, the ankles or the feet are the first point of contact. So anything not right there, and that's going to travel up through your joints. Okay, but while I do this, I still engage my abs. I start to squeeze my glutes, and we'll go side to side, not too much. The knee is a modified hinge joint. It's got a bit of movement, especially with those meniscus, the pads between your femur and your tibia, the long bone at the front there. So don't go too far, and start to circle a little bit of Elvis. Yeah, not too big though. Okay, small. Again, we want to protect the joints, and I'm pushing into the ground as I do it, and I'm keeping my body tall just to warm them up. Just to warm them up. Okay, taking in, squeeze the glutes. Now, if I combine squeezing my glutes and opening my chest, drawing in my abs, as I bend my leg, I can use this movement to activate the glutes, which is going to help me with my hip extension. That can get too minimal for some people whose running style is a bit too small with their pace. There's a lot of that. It's too small, yeah? If you want a bigger running pace, you need hip extension, yeah? So we're warming that up at the same time as dynamically stretching out the quads and that hip flexor area, okay? Opening the chest. This is just something that you should think about, okay? Into the rotator cuffs of the arms, because again, the arms are in quite a strict line of movement, really, aren't they? No one runs like this, yeah? Well, you shouldn't, it'd be strange, yeah? We tend to keep the arms in a short space, and the repetition of that, when you consider that there is a far greater range of mobility at the shoulder joint, shows you how important it is to think about that stuff. So I've warmed up my ankles, I've given a few mobilizations in the joints, I've switched on my glutes, and do a few dynamic swings. This is a very short one. Now, when you do the dynamic swings, it's important that you remember to keep your body up tall, and only straighten your leg if straightening your leg you can still feel the stretch in the hamstring, in the belly of the muscle. If you keep your leg straight and you're swinging it up in the air and you're feeling it down here where the tendons, you've got three hamstrings, biceps femoris attached on the outside, it's the bit you can grab, and then you've got tendinosis and membranosus on the inside. Those are big, thick tendons. You can't stretch those. So, well, you can stretch them, but it'll injure them, it'll tear them. So, you only control the movement. Control the movement. That means if you need to keep your leg bent so that you can feel these dynamic stretches in the right place, then that's what you need to do. Certainly not leaning down towards. Chest stays up. Got some side swings. I use my bike to do this. Again, don't get carried away with how high it is. You can use these dynamics. So adductors are coming across, abductors away, across and away. You can use these to help you activate your core. Because I could do is completely switched off, and I'm only thinking about the leg, and you can see what that looks like. And here's me switched on. There's the control of the movement. It looks completely different. So I've got medial, lateral. We've done our hamstrings. Now we're getting to that hip extension. Push, push. But again, this extension here, there's a few different ways you can do it. You can change your foot, etc. What I'm really doing is locking on my abs so that I'm staying in that good isolated position and I'm squeezing my glute into it. I can actually feel my adductors working to keep this line. You could do it a bit slower, you could do it a bit faster, you could do it a bit bigger, but most importantly, don't let your back change position to do it. It's about the hip, both sides. Actually burns quite quick really. And shake it out, there we go. Do a couple of spine rolls, gently down, I let my legs bend into it and come up. I draw in and stand tall. This is a whole different thing. You can get into a lot of detail about this from a Pilates point of view. But if you're going to do a quick runner's warm up, obviously I had a bit of chit chat then. Think about those things. When you're running, be aware of what can get tight and what cannot get tight. Beyond that, beforehand, remember, if your running gait is good, if you look after the way your feet move and you think about your posture, you're going to avoid a hell of a lot of issues from something that should be amazingly enjoyable. So I'm off out to the park. All right, enjoy.